Till now, we have discussed the aggregate functions, which includes sum, count, average, min, max functions. These functions are mostly used along with the group by clause. Group by clause is used to group the results by one or more columns. It is a very important clause. I want you to pay attention as this will be used a lot many times in your professional career. To use group by, this is the syntax. We write select, give the column names. We can use the aggregate functions also from the table name and then write group by a particular column name. So what this means is, for example, if you want to find out the number of customers who are living in a particular city or in a particular state, you will then be grouping the customers by their city name or the state. So if you are grouping them by city, you will write group by city. If you are grouping them by state, you will write group by state, and you will select the respective columns with respective aggregate functions. Let us see some examples. So in the first example, suppose you want to find out how many customers live in which region of the country. To do that, we will select the region and the count of customer IDs, and this will do from the table customer, and we'll group this by the column region. So if you can imagine, this will group the regions, we'll get the name of the regions, and alongside that it will give us the count of customer IDs in that region. Let us go and write this query. So if you scroll this customer table, the last column is the region column in which we have different regions. Let us find out the number of customers in each region using the group by clause. So we will select the regions. This will give us the region names. Then we'll write the count of customer IDs. This will give us the number of customers. I'll give an alias of customer count from the table name, which is customer, and I'll group it by the region column. Run this query. So it ran successfully and we have the result. We have 4 regions and we have the count of customers in each region. We have 134 customers in south region and 255 customers in west region. So this was using group by along with the count aggregate function. Now let us look at how to use group by along with the sum aggregate function. Suppose we want to find out the quantity of each product sold from the sales table. How do we do that? To find out, we will write select product ID, and then we will have the aggregate function of sum, which is summing the quantity of that product ID sold from the sales table, grouped by their product IDs and ordered in the descending order. One thing to note is, when I'm ordering it in descending order, I'm using the alias. Once alias is defined, it can be used further in the query wherever you want to. Now let us write this query to find out quantity of each product sold. Select product ID, comma, sum quantity, give it an alias as quantity sold from sales table, grouped by quantity, grouped by product ID and ordered by quantity sold in descending order. So we will get the maximum sold product at the top. So this is the product ID of the maximum sold product. It was sold 75 times. Next product was sold 70 times, and so on. In the next example, let us see how to use all the aggregate functions that we have learned before in one single query and along with the group by clause. Suppose we are creating a dashboard and trying to find out the top 5 customers who have spent most at our store and get an idea of what is their profile, how much they have spent, what is the average spend, what is their minimum sales value, and what is their maximum sales value. To do this, we will write select customer ID, minimum sales value, and then write the max sales value. We'll find out the average sales value and the sum, that is the total sales value, from the sales table, and we'll group it by the customer ID and we'll order them in descending order. We'll put a limit of 5 so that the top 5 spenders only remain in our resultant set. Let us go and run this query. So select customer ID and we'll find the minimum of the sales as minimum sales. We'll find the max sales as maximum sale. The average sales as average underscore sale, then the sum of all sales as the total sales. Space total sales. From the sales table grouped by customer ID, ordered by their total sales. This is the alias given to sum sales, and in the descending order, and we will limit the number of records to 5. So we want the top 5 spenders only. So you can see when I run this query, I get top 5 spenders. The topper is the one who has spent 25,043 units. Average spend of this customer is 16,069. Minimum spend was 3.4 and maximum is 22,638. So you can present this dashboard of the highest spenders of your store. One thing you should note here is the columns that we are specifying while selecting, these should be unique with the column mentioned in the group by clause. What I mean by this is, say for example, when we were selecting the count of customers with the region, if I had put region comma age and grouped by region, it could not have been grouped together since there are several types of ages of customers within same region. So let us try and run this query and see the error SQL gives. It is saying column customer.age must appear in group by clause or be used in an aggregate function. So what this means is either you can use the age as an aggregate function, you can find the average age or the minimum or maximum age. You cannot use it as it is since it is not unique in one particular region. So if you want to find out average age, probably we should have an aggregate function. So we should write average age also here and run this query. So now we have the, yeah, bhai. Now if I expand this column of age, the average age in south is 45, whereas in all the other regions it is nearly 44. So remember to use aggregate functions along with group by. Another important thing to note, we have used only one column while specifying the group by clause. You can also specify multiple columns. So if I specify two different columns, it will create all the possible combinations of values in both the columns, and it will give us a table of all the possible combinations. So let us add in this region, let us add the state also, and we will group it by region and state. Let us run this query. So you can see the maximum customer count is in the east region of the New York state. Next is the Texas state in the central region. So it is creating groups of all the possible combinations of regions and states. In the next lecture, we will discuss the having keyword.